When the Kush hit, Kush? What is Kush?
And welcome to the Mind You Movies podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Shane.
and today we're talking about mixed media movies. So we've got some cool picks, and before we jump into those movies, we are actually going to also debrief the Oscars that just happened when we're recording this. It happened yesterday, so that was pretty fun. But when you're
Yeah.
watching this, it'll obviously be a few days. But
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Marcel the Shell with Shoes On and Mind Game. A couple of unique movies that use different formats, live action, animation, 3D animation, stop motion, in the case of Marcel. So that's the topic, and we're going to talk about those movies in depth with spoilers later, but stick around for the Oscar recap. If you didn't see, we did an Oscar predictions episode last week, so we tried to do predictions. Last year, I won famously a landslide victory. And I was trying to retain my belt, and then Ryan just came over and said, "Nope, I'm the champ." So yeah, we'll just go. We can just kind of talk. I feel like we just talk about the categories, and we'll kind of give our thoughts as we go. Normally at this part of the show, we talk about what we've seen recently, but maybe we'll just do a little bit of that at the end. But yeah, I mean the big ones. One Battle After Another won Best Picture, and PTA won Best Director. We both predicted that. So didn't we both got that right. But glad PTA won, good speeches and great movie. Can't complain.
yeah, and one battle took a lot of stuff, and pretty much hearing everyone talk about the movie always felt like pretty just, like everyone felt like they actually were pretty happy about watching about making the movie and really enjoyed working with everyone. Aside from one interesting one that well, I'll just say now, which is supporting actor Sean Penn, which I guess wasn't a huge surprise.
He just didn't, well, he just wasn't there.
He just wasn't there. Yeah, he
Who
didn't go.
cares?
Yeah.
People, whatever. I don't know. People that get angry about the Oscars, I'm like, this is a stupid thing that doesn't matter. Who cares if the guy was there or not? You know what I mean? Like, who cares if
Yeah.
Timothée Chalamet thinks opera, no one cares about opera, which guess what? No one cares about opera. You know what I mean? That's the
Whoa.
reality. That's the
Whoa.
reality. No
Now
one,
we're not going to win an Oscar,
no
Shane.
one no
What are
one
you
goes.
doing?
All these fake controversies, just ridiculous. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
But no, I
it
mean,
was
like
great.
Sean Penn,
Everyone
I
seemed to
think,
like it. Sean Penn's just a weird guy. He's probably
yeah.
in friggin' like Iran right now or something. Like he goes to like war zones. He does all this stuff. Like he's in a little bit of an eccentric guy. He's probably just sick of I will say the award season this year way too long. March what 15th we had the Oscars. Move it up. Put it into February. Too long. Too
Yeah.
I'm like one battle after another winning best picture. I should be like, oh wow, this is awesome. PTA won best director. That's cool. But I'm kind of like, all right, thank goodness it's over.
Wow, yeah. Um yeah, I mean, I think Sean Penn also just doesn't do the awards anymore. Like he didn't go to BAFTA this year or anything. And
He was
I,
at the Golden Globes though, apparently.
oh, awkward. Well, then never mind. But yeah,
Like,
I
who
mean, whatever.
cares?
Who cares? But
I'm
um
glad he wasn't there. Fuck him.
interesting. I don't know if I'm glad.
I like it.
I
I
don't
like
really.
that he's. This is the thing. I don't know. I'm just happy for everyone. I'm glad he won. I'm glad he did wasn't there and he kind of gave him the finger. You know why he probably wasn't there? He probably wasn't allowed to smoke or vape inside, so he probably didn't go. Because I think at the Golden Globes he was like vaping inside, and there was like you could see the vape like come up in front of the camera at some point,
That's
maybe.
crazy.
So maybe that's why he didn't go.
Wow.
Which
That's
honestly, I mean,
wild. Wow.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
anyway, PTA
But
gave good speeches.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And of course he gave two because he also did win um a best adapted screenplay.
Yeah.
Which was also something we both
Three,
predicted.
technically, because he was also producer on One Battle. So he got
Oh
three
yeah,
Oscars today or
you're
whatever
right.
yesterday. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was the favorite, but Sinners was definitely chomping at its tail.
Yeah, and kind of my prediction overall, if people remember from last episode, was that I was like, I'm thinking that Sinners, it got so many nominations, it's got to take a lot of the lower categories here. But I think PTA was gonna get Best Director, and I didn't really feel like they were gonna, you know, um, split it, right, director and picture. So I think I was pretty confident that like One Battle and PTA would get the big one. and then Sinners would get a bunch of smaller stuff, and that kind of was what pretty much happened, which was pretty cool. So I was
Hmm.
pretty excited by that.
Yeah, yeah, and I will. We should probably say with our points system, there's 62 total points now because of casting, and uh, last year I think I had 35 and you had 28 maybe. And then this year I had 38, so I actually improved from last year. But Ryan had 50 total points, 18 out of 24. Correct.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible. He also got he got picture and director and all four acting categories correct. I only got one acting category correct, which was like one of the biggest locks of the night. I thought there'd be, I don't know. I think my picks would have been cooler, but that's okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think also one thing that's interesting about this year is we just both did a lot better than last year. Like you said, you were I guess 3 points higher, which isn't a ton, but I think last year, you know what
All
blew us
right.
out is I'll just say last year
I'm
though,
just
you know what
kidding.
it was is a Nora, right? Like neither of
Yeah,
us really
we
predicted
both
that.
leaned toward the brutalist last year, I think, and Honora was I don't know. Honora is just a weird like that's not a typical Oscar kind of a movie, but I feel like they're switching it up a little bit. Like Sinners too. It's like this action well, horror movie, and I don't know. It's not a typical horror movies generally don't do good at the Oscars at all. So
Yeah.
pretty, I think the Oscars are catching up with the times a little bit, being a little more open-minded.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
Glad to
big
see it.
Yeah. And Jesse Buckley, we both had Jesse Buckley. But
Yeah.
the big, not really an upset. I feel like they were the top two, or I don't know. Best actor was kind of like anyone could win, but I feel like it was mainly Timmy versus Michael B. Jordan. And then I felt like Leo had an outside chance to steal it a little bit. But yeah, Michael B. Jordan won. Great speech, likable guy, glad he won. And he deserved it. It was a great performance. So really couldn't go wrong. But I predicted Timmy and Ryan predicted Michael B. Jordan. So there you go.
Yep. Yeah. I was happy he won, obviously. I think he deserved it. I think, you know, I didn't really care much for Timothy Chalamet, I'm gonna be honest. So, maybe he'll get it
This
with Dune 3.
Marty Supreme slander. You can actually, it's funny. We have half episodes on One Battle After Another, Sinners, Marty Supreme, Begonia. Is that all of them? I think maybe there's another in there. I'm not sure. But those are like a lot of the biggest movies of the year. So if you guys are interested in like our in-depth thoughts about each movie, I loved Marty Supreme. I thought Marty Supreme was fantastic. I thought, I thought in a way I was thinking he should have won last year over Adrian Brody potentially, and people were maybe going to give it to him as a bit of a makeup for last year, which tends to happen with the Oscars a lot, and it didn't happen. So that's all right. It all worked out. Timothy Chalamet will be fine. He's
he'll
so
yeah. He'll have
he's
plenty of chances.
one of the biggest movie stars in the world. He's super rich. He's making these Dune movies. He's doing whatever he wants. Yeah, no, there's no reason to feel bad for Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
and then
Um,
best supporting it. I don't know if you have anything else to say about like actor or whatever, but
no, I was just about to move on to the same one. So,
cool.
I,
Yeah,
I, yeah, I like Benicio, but I did think Sean Penn would get it, and
I was hoping for
well,
Benicio. I thought a few small beers was gonna like carry him to the finish line because I felt like the whole category was a little bit of a toss up. Like Delroy Lindo could have won,
yeah,
like, and I don't know. I just thought his character was likable to the point where people would enjoy it. But both supporting actor and actress were both villains in their movies. They're kind of like standout villain performances. So maybe I get why that's maybe more memorable and integral to the movie. Benicio is only in a small portion of the movie, but I felt like he was just so iconic and recognized like memorable and likable in the movie. So it is what it is. I love Benicio. The guy's great. So I kind of was hoping for him to win. That was my kind of like a little bit left field pick, but I feel like the Oscars kind of went pretty much chalk, like for the most part. There was no crazy surprise except for the tie in the short film category.
yeah, yeah. That was really. I agree. I feel like that was the only big surprise. Um, and maybe I mean like documentary feature was kind of a surprise, but not like a huge surprise. But um, I mean it turned out to be Mr. Nobody against Putin, which yeah, big political documentary makes sense. But
Yeah.
I feel like
Documentary,
yeah,
it feels like they go. a lot of voters probably lean toward whatever issue, like it's all issue based. It's sort of like Perfectly a Strangeness in the documentary short film category is like almost felt out of place because the Oscars usually just nominate things about issues like political, social issues that people care about. So but not all documentaries are like that, and not all documentaries about a social issue or with a good message are necessarily good movies. But anyway, that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing. But yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
Amy Madigan won. That's cool. I guess Tiana Taylor, but it is what it is. Uh, K-pop won Best Animated Feature, made sense. I don't know if there was any. We kind of all had the same stuff for we
Yeah.
both guessed Sentimental Value. We both guessed Perfect Neighbor, which was wrong. And then yeah, we had some differences on cinematography. I guessed One Battle, but you had Sinners, and Sinners ended up winning. So that was
Hmm.
cool.
That was cool. I think they're here's my thing about One Battle and Sinners is I think they're both such well made movies technically, right? Like on technical standards and specs and everything that I really feel like it was a toss up between them for a lot of these. And I feel like um I'm glad that Sinners took more of them than One Battle, but I could have seen either of them really in the cinematography spot. But part of why I guess Sinners was also that, again, going with my strategy of like I think One Battle will take the biggest things and then Sinners
Well,
will kind of sweep it
One
up.
Battle did win editing and wait, did it win editing and writing? They split writing,
Yeah.
and then editing and cinematography they also split.
Yeah.
Kind of yeah. So
And then
and
oh yeah, and
casting
then
One
I
Battle
forgot
won.
that One Battle won casting. Yeah. Casting was a weird one this year. I mean, I don't really know what I don't think anyone really knew what to expect, I guess. But
Yeah,
kind of a weird odd.
I think
Yeah.
part of the reason is like maybe Chase Infinity. This is her first movie. It's sort of like I feel like finding a new actor is going to be a big factor in like the casting award in the future probably. But yeah, this time it lined up with Best Picture winner. So we'll see like maybe next year it'll also be the Best Picture winner also wins Best Casting. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I was
yeah.
kind of interested if like it will just end up being like whoever got the most actor, actress like nominees, will they just get best casting? Because you've
I feel
clearly
like
casted a lot of people.
hopefully not. Hopefully it's because I feel like if it's like, oh, you just have or whatever. I don't know. Like just an example off the top of my head, like Die My Love. You just have like two huge movie stars acting with each other, and it's like it's not that hard to know that Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson are good actors, and cast them in a movie, or you know what I mean, like
Right.
casting. And even with One Battle, like casting Leo as the lead, I mean, it is kind of a unique role for him, but it's like, yeah, if Leonardo DiCaprio wants to do your movie, you're gonna have him in the movie. Like,
Right.
so it's not really impressive to cast big stars, but I feel like, and that was part of my thing with Sinners, expecting Sinners to win, is that it had like there were so many roles. I feel like also like size of the
Yeah.
cast matters, but also like Miles Caton was a good find of someone who was also new, sort of like Chase Infinity. So yeah, I don't know. Just kind of we'll see where it goes. Kind of an unknown category.
Yeah. That's also part of why I was figuring Sinners might, and with like I thought Sinners just had um sort of a lot of like just interesting choices when it came to characters. Like even with like Michael B. Jordan playing twins, right? Like that's an interesting decision that is in many ways relying on the casting director to pick someone that can do that role really well, right?
Well, kind of, but Michael B. Jordan's been in every single Ryan Coogler movie. So they're like they always
That's
work together.
true.
Yeah.
That's
So it's
true.
a
Yeah, it
little
really wasn't
like
a choice. Yeah.
exactly. It's like and obviously he was good to have him in the role,
Yeah.
like, but and he did a great job. But that's yeah, I don't know. I think it
Yeah.
could become like almost just like a best ensemble cast category, but I feel like I don't know if there's a little I think finding someone who's not as well known is a factor in best
Yeah.
casting, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, right? But it does. I mean, One Battle, I think, probably had the most actor actress nominations because it had Benicio and Sean Penn in
Yeah.
uh and so I think it might have, I mean, I don't have the numbers all in my head, but I think it probably had the most number wise there. So it also, I mean, I don't know. My theory of it could just be that currently, I mean, 1 out of 1 so far.
Hmm.
Also, 1 out of 1 for it just being about finding a new person and stuff.
Yeah,
I kind of hope it's that because that's more interesting. But
yeah.
I don't know.
It's probably a factor of if you have a great ensemble cast that all give great performances, that'll definitely be a factor, I bet. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I guessed best editing will go to Marty Supreme. I think Marty Supreme and Benicio, Marty Supreme for editing and Benicio for best supporting actor were a little bit me just like being hopeful and being like, I'd really like it if this won. And I was thinking Timothy Chalamet would win, and I was kind of like, well, if Timothy Chalamet wins, it's a sign that people liked Marty Supreme. And I thought the editing in Marty Supreme was pretty fantastic. It was so relentless and I thought it was probably the best edited movie out of the things, but I shouldn't use that as a barometer because my opinion never rarely ever would line up with the Academy. So that was probably just me predicting with my heart a little more. But but yeah, so it ended up going to one battle. So that's cool.
Yeah, and I guess Sinners for that one. I don't know. Yeah, it was not Sinners.
Yeah, we both missed that one. We both
Yeah,
missed that one.
bummer.
But they split the writing ones, and I really liked Ryan Coogler's speech. Coogler just seems like a cool guy. He seems awesome. Anytime I see an interview with him, he seems like a like down to earth. Like he seems very intelligent, but also very humble. Great combination for in a human being. So he just seems like a good guy, and I'm looking forward to his future. Like this guy made this vampire movie, made like a $400 million and a bunch of Oscar broke the record for Oscar nominations. Like whatever he does next, he kind of has like blank check to kind of do whatever he wants. It's kind of hopefully he gets that. Although I don't know if are they doing like another Black Panther or anything? I'm not sure. But
I
I don't
don't
know.
know. Not that I've heard of, but I don't really know.
Whatever they're doing next, whatever Coogler is doing next, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, same. That'd be awesome.
And then sound F1 one sound. I got that one right. So that one was cool. Uh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, cool. I don't know. I feel yeah, cool.
It was like, did you see it in the
Cars.
IMAX? Did you see F1 in the
No,
IMAX? Oh, you never saw it. Okay.
no.
I will tell you what, in the IMAX, sound was good.
I feel like I will say IMAX kind of big sound for many things, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
yeah.
also,
That's
I'm glad F1 got something here. I guess. I guess I don't know.
yeah.
F1 I feel like was an odd movie to see in the lineup for Best Picture. I will say. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't really care. I don't think it really had much of a chance against all the others, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it was definitely it was definitely more for the craft, I think, than necessarily the writing or the story elements of it. Like the story and everything was kind of standard, but it was really well made and pretty impressive. Obviously, it had a gigantic budget, so thank
Yeah,
goodness it was well made. But I think people appreciated those aspects of it, and that's probably part of the reason why. Even though I wouldn't have nominated it, but whatever. There's a
yeah,
bunch of other movies. Best sound, like I'm like I would give it to Warfare, but Warfare, whatever, it came out in like whatever last February, March or something, and kind of people whatever had mixed feelings about it, and it's just not an Oscar movie. Anyone listening, I'm using the air quotes.
yeah.
So yeah, like, but that sound in that movie was incredible, and it so, but whatever. That's not how the Oscars go.
Yeah, I
But
remember. I think I had texted you at one point and said that I was surprised it didn't get nominated for Sound
oh,
Warfare because I remember we actually have an half episode about that, and
we do.
that was like right at we filmed it, we recorded
Yeah,
it right after, and we were pretty blown away by a lot of stuff in the movie,
yeah,
including the sound, right? And I think it was just really an uh, impressive auditory experience for sure. What they did with
yeah.
the sound there, it was really unique, right? And I feel
Oh
like,
yeah,
uh, I don't know if I saw as much unique stuff in sound with a lot of the nominations. I mean, obviously with like the score for Sinners, but like that's different,
right.
right? So
Yeah. I'm glad Ludwig won. Now he has three Oscars. He's like in his 30s. He's crushing it. So
yeah,
that's cool. But yeah, oh, I was gonna say something and then I completely forgot what I was going to say. But anyway, Warfare was cool. That was good. Oh, the other movie I wanted to mention, it was just an accident. I watched that recently. Fantastic movie. Didn't win any awards, but that movie was absolutely fantastic. So it's on Hulu in the US if anyone wants to watch it. That's my probably my favorite. That and Begonia were probably my favorite like nominees for me personally. And then yeah. But also, do you have anything to say about Frankenstein winning those three, whatever costume, production design, and whatever the other one was?
I was happy about it. I
Makeup was the other one.
Makeup, yeah, makeup and hair. I was happy about it. I thought it was probably pretty locked in though. I feel like it was
Yeah.
like a gothic, cast. It had a castle in it. It had all the
Big
had things.
dresses.
Yeah, big dresses, but also, I mean, just the Frankenstein's monster in the movies,
Yeah.
in the movie looked so impressive and very different throughout the movie as the
Yeah.
movie went on. And so I think for that alone, it definitely deserved, you know, uh, makeup from all the stuff that's on him. And costume design, I feel like because it's like kind of a period, obviously, and everything, I think that made a lot of sense too. And I think again, there's a giant, I mean, I don't know, there's so much going on in Frankenstein in terms of these things, right? There's like did you see Frankenstein?
No, never
No.
saw it.
Um, yeah, there's the place where he's made, right? Like the lab or clock, like tower, I guess, is like really fantastic on the inside and everything. So
Yeah.
just like every set piece seems really deserved, like it deserved this. So I was happy about that for sure.
Nice. Have you seen The Bride yet? The sequel?
No, well,
Not really a sequel, but
I have
yeah.
not. Yeah,
I
Maggie
kind of
Gyllenhaal, right?
yeah. She directed it. Jesse
Yeah,
Buckley's in it.
yeah, that's right.
She's the titular bride.
And Christian Bale as
Yeah.
is he
Yep.
plays Frankenstein's monster, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we haven't seen it, so we don't have anything to say about it. But yeah, that was kind of cool. There was a tie, so that was weird. One of the you picked the one of the tied ones, so that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually I will say this year I did not really do the gauntlet with the short films, so I went totally on vibes, and I didn't really expect two people exchanging saliva to really win. I think at the end of last episode I was talking about my short film picks. I was just kind of like, I don't know, this would be cool. Like
Yeah. So hey, that it's a shot in the dark, and it worked out. There you go.
yeah, I got the 1 point there.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I have that much else to say about the Oscars. I always like Conan. Conan was good. Um, yeah, he's a good host.
Yeah, and there's the after Oscar skit, right? Where or after the show skit that he did where it's the one battle after another ending thing, right? And he's like
Yeah.
going to be host for life. And that was pretty funny. So I
Yeah.
appreciated that. That was cool.
That was good. I was wondering, does that mean he's not hosting next year? Is that him sort of being like, I'm out, or I'm not sure. So I don't
Yeah,
know. We'll
well,
see. It'd be
and next year it'll be on YouTube.
yeah. Oh, wait, is that next year? Or is it
Yeah.
oh okay. I thought it was like a couple years away, but all right.
I think this was the last year that it's on like
On ABC.
ABC and cable
All right.
TV, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
could be. It could be. Yeah, that's cool. I like him better than Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel just has a smarminess to him that I find off-putting. But Conan has more of a irreverence that I enjoy. But a lot of also a lot of basically product placement. There was Grogu and they had Pedro Pascal on there, and then they had the event Downey and Chris Evans from the Avengers. ABC owned by Disney so they advertising for a lot of ABC and Disney related things. So that was a little I don't know. On the one hand, it's kind of cynical and shitty, but on the other hand, it's like I guess we want movies to make money so people can keep making movies because we like movies. But eh, the skits beforehand were just a little up and down. The bridesmaids reunion uh cast, that was funny. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that. Um so yeah.
Also, there was a decent amount of like Oscar commercials of like movie themed commercials, and I don't remember if they did that usually, but that was
I
interesting.
There was technically it was a Rolex commercial, I think, but it was for Zendaya. And I think last episode I was saying Zendaya. I wasn't sure. It's Zendaya. Day, just like day, like a day of the week, Zendaya. So now I know it. I'm gonna remember it because day, like a day of the week, Zendaya. So
Nice.
there, that was the only commercial that I remember because they said she said Zendaya at one point or something. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I was
yeah, the commercials
surprised
were
by
kind of shitty. I kind of sorry to cut you off, but
no, yeah, you're
I
good.
feel like the commercials for this should be almost like the Super Bowl. Like it should be a big thing, but it's not.
Well, I was gonna say this year it kind of felt a little bit more like that than usual because a decent amount of the commercials I saw like had movie related things to them. Not all of them, and not like a lot were like huge budget or like not like they have to be huge budget, but like whatever. But some of them were themed this year, it seemed like, and I was pretty into that. I was like, this is cool. Let's do this. But next year
Yeah,
it'll be on YouTube and you'll just get like random ads in between, maybe. I don't know. So
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they'll do that. YouTube does some stuff. They'll have like baseball games or I think they have football games on YouTube sometimes. So I feel like YouTube actually does some streaming. So whenever they
okay.
get there, they'll know what they're doing. It won't just be like a Twitch stream. And but yeah. And they have
Yeah.
time to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. That I don't know if I have anything else to say about the Oscars. Cool. Ryan, 50-point benchmark, new high score for the Oscars. It's 1-1. We'll see what happens next year. I already called my shot. I said I'm taking Odyssey. I'm calling dibs on Odyssey and Dune 3, which is
Yeah.
not allowed. It's not part of the game, but I'm calling dibs right now.
Yeah, it would be interesting to like draft the picks, but that would be insane too.
No, I feel like there's some movies where it's like we don't even
Yeah.
know if it like Joel Cohen has a new movie that is like it's being made. I don't know. Is it going to come out like toward the end of this year? Is it going to come out in 2027? I don't know. So it'd be tough because I feel like some movies it's unknown when they're going to come out.
No, no, no. I mean, once the nominations are out, we draft.
Oh,
But that seems,
oh,
I don't mind us tying on a lot of things. I feel like if we know that something's going to get, I don't know, whatever. But that's something to think about next year.
I wouldn't be against that. That could be fun. That could be a fun like added
Yeah,
thing
we'll
on the
see.
side. But yeah, but basically we'd have to do a snake draft to make it fair.
Yeah.
So whoever goes first, and then you have two, three, and then yeah, and then at the end, after you once you get to 4 and 5, it's like why even? Usually there's like at least 5 movies that you're like, well, this one's not gonna win, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could be fun.
But yeah, 50 points. That's only 12 points away from the max, which is kind of
Yeah,
insane. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say I'm not going to beat that next year, but that's crazy. That
that
was
feels like a really high benchmark to
yeah.
but then now we have like kind of like oh, can we ever get above 50 or is that going to be where we max out?
Yeah. Yeah, and next year we'll be tie breaking because like you said we're 1 to
Yeah,
1 now. So we'll see.
exactly.
It'd be insane
Oh,
if we ever tie. Like we just straight up get the same number of points.
yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, that's possible. Definitely possible. Yeah, all right. I don't know. Do you want to mention anything you've seen from Nat between now and last episode that you wanted to mention and recommend to people? Maybe the best one.
You know what I will say is I got to see Doctor Strangelove on film at the Harvard Film Archive.
Oh,
So
cool.
that was awesome. That movie's fantastic. I don't have to say that much about it because
Relevant.
I it's real. Oh my god, today, right? Like especially when you think about like AI, right, and uh, the doomsday device that they talk about there, right, where it's like doesn't like nobody controls it. It's just once the thing's detected, and there's no way to stop it. It's like that's
Mm,
like what people are talking about doing with AI and warfare today. Is like just
ugh.
don't control it. Just let it make the decisions. That's bonkers for so many reasons, right? And whatever. But
Yeah.
so and also just with like nuclear war and people and like literally the conspiracy theories about like fluoridation and stuff. And it's like this is like RFK shit. Like he's like literally one step. If he was a general at an Air Force base, that would be him. Um and there's so much stuff in this movie. If anyone hasn't seen it though, like definitely this movie's amazing. It's very funny. It's a satire, right? It's a dark satire, so it's also pretty dark, obviously. But it's like masterfully made. The the set for the war room specifically, it's like this massive circular room with a bunch of people sitting around it, and almost nobody there talks. There's like three people that ever get to say anything there, which just it obviously like plays into the motifs and themes and stuff. Really great, really fantastic movie. I was lucky enough to see it on film at the Harvard Film Archive, and it's part of their ongoing series to do all of the Kubrick films on film. If anyone is like in the Boston area, the Harvard Film Archive is super cool. They do a lot of mostly lesser known things. Obviously, Kubrick is pretty well known, but this is kind of a rare circumstance. And it's cool. They even showed Padre, which is one of his short films, on film before they showed the main feature for that showing. So that was really cool.
Nice.
I was glad I got to see it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, so I was super excited to see it on film.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's like kind of, you know, here I am recommending, like, in my opinion, one of the best movies ever made. And it's not like a super hot take, right? So like, you know, people have probably already seen it, but if not, you know, it's more relevant today than maybe ever before. So totally worth the time. And it's short. It's
Yes.
like 90 something minutes.
Yes. Great about the foolishness of people in power, which has never been more relevant. But yeah, cool. That's cool that you got to see it on film. I watched a satire. I rewatched Nightcrawler. Have you seen Nightcrawler
Oh
with Jake
yeah.
Gyllenhaal?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Great movie. Love it. Rewatched it. I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's just also a satire. So more about the media and the way our society rewards sociopaths. So yeah, great, fantastic movie. But the one I wanted to recommend is called Waves from 2019. Great movie, directed by Trey Edward Schultz. There's a trailer that's actually pretty good and gives you like the vibe of the movie. Uh, it's like a minute long trailer. If you're on Letterboxd and you just click on the trailer button, at least for me, it takes me to that trailer and it actually gives you a good vibe of the movie without spoiling anything. But really cool, kind of like felt very influenced by Terrence Malick. Great soundtrack, a lot of music that I really like in the soundtrack, so I appealed to me for sure. Uh, and yeah, just a beautiful movie. So I recommend Waves for anyone who's looking for yeah, just a great movie to watch, I guess. But yeah,
Nice.
and I watched It Was Just an Accident, which I recommended in the Oscars. That was fantastic too. So
Nice.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
time to get
Um,
to the main movies.
yeah, the only other thing I'll say is I actually watched a ton of stuff lately. Lots of
Oh, nice.
like 5 star, 4.5 star movies. That
Nice.
I feel like I've been on a streak, and I don't want to spend too much. I mean, we did the Oscars review. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So if anyone's interested,
Mention them.
you know what? I'll say some names, but if you're interested in my thoughts, go to my Letterbox. It's on our, you know, if you go to Mind Your Movies podcast or Mind Your Movies on Letterboxd, our links are right there, so you can click on all of our stuff. But I watched Hoppers. I gave 4.5 stars. I did not expect to love this movie. It was so good though. Amazing. I watched Past Lives, 5 star movie. I should have seen that way earlier. High and Low,
Oh yeah.
amazing, classic, amazing, 5 star movie. I watched Undertone, which is like a new audio based horror movie that's about a podcaster. 4 stars for me. Great, awesome movie. I watched a like 3.5 hour long documentary about folk horror called Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched. Amazing. I gave it 4.5 stars. Huge ass documentary.
Too
Great.
That's too long for you. What's going on?
I gotta be honest. The documentary is a 4 parter, so
Okay. That's fine.
it's one thing, but it's like part one, you know,
Yeah.
the classics, part two, blah blah. And I watched it in 4 parts. I was like,
Or
yeah,
right.
there's no way.
That makes sense. Because they do have like some limited series on Letterboxd as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I also watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spot. I rewatched Eternal
Oh
Sunshine of the
yeah.
Spotless Mind. Amazing movie. Anyway, so tons of cool stuff lately. I
Nice.
write little reviews for everything. So if you want to see my thoughts, feel free to jump on there.
Yeah, definitely. You review everything. I don't, but sometimes I do.
Yeah. Sometimes it's
Some
just like a little joke, but
yeah.
sometimes I write longer stuff. If anyone wants to see like total what do you call it? Like I don't know, whatever, psycho behavior, right? Like look at my The Shining review. It's like one of my pinned
Mm.
reviews. And I went a little I went a little off the rails.
Did you get into the calumet food cans behind him or anything like that?
No, no, no.
Okay.
I did not.
Have you seen
Yeah.
Room 237?
No, I haven't. I still want to
Oh,
watch that, but I've looked
but
up
that
some of the stuff that's in it. It's insane. People have
but
all sorts of theories about this.
you have to see that. You got to
Yeah.
put that on if it's streaming anywhere, like you got to watch that when you get a chance. It's also like a reasonable length. I feel like it's like under 2 hours. Um, yeah. Cool.
Nice. Adding it to my list right now.
Yeah, it's good. You'd enjoy it. All right. So the we have Mind Game and Marcel the Shell with shoes on. So obviously the name of the episode is Mind Gale the Shell with shoes on. So we're gonna start with Mind Game, which was my pick. This is an insane movie. It's mixed media. It mixes. It seems like it mixes 2D animation with maybe some rotoscoping, and there's some live action in there as well. Uh, Totally unique style, kind of nothing I've ever seen before. Um, but yeah, it's directed by Masaaki Yuasa from 2004. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty wacky, insane movie. And I enjoyed parts of it. I didn't enjoy other parts of it, but for the most part, I appreciated how unique it is. And yeah, do you want to say any general thoughts on Mind Game?
I'll say I feel pretty similar to what you just said in terms of I appreciate some of the stuff they were doing. I liked there's some scenes here that like legitimately, if they were like a short film with just those scenes, I probably would have given it like 4.5 or 5 stars. There's some
Mm,
scenes here that I think are like really
yeah.
masterful and I really, really loved. Um, but there's a lot to the movie that I could not get past. And I liked the overall plot. I thought was interesting, actually very reminiscent of, and you might have mentioned this in your review, but of Enter the Void in terms of plot.
Oh,
And
yeah. Yeah. Felt that. This one came out before Enter the Void. But yes, I definitely see that. We covered that on the show whenever back a few months ago.
yeah, um, and I think so. That was interesting. Definitely some cool stuff going on. I will say the mixed media aspects. Um, there wasn't as much as I was expecting, or maybe like I feel like I looked at like the backgrounds on Letterboxd, and it's like they picked out a lot of them,
Yeah.
and it's mostly pretty much faces. That's pretty much the main thing. There's a couple other
Yeah.
things, but that's pretty much
Yeah, it's not as mixed media. This one I picked, I'd never seen it before, and I don't know. I like to pick a movie that I've never seen and pick it for the podcast. A little exciting, but yeah. So it wasn't as mixed media as I mean, it's interesting because like this one has moments where the mixed media aspect like really sticks out to you. And Marcel the Shell, like the whole point is the whole thing is technically mixing live action with stop motion, but it's blending it so that it's seamless and you're not supposed to really notice it. So it's kind of two very different approaches to that topic. But yeah, this movie, there's really nothing subtle about it. It's the opposite of subtle. It's insane.
yeah, yeah. It is absolutely
So yeah, it's like I mean
crazy.
the plot. Here we go. Uh Nishi is the main character. He's been in love with this girl since they were kids, and she's about to marry someone else. And they're they're at her dad's restaurant, and this insane uh evil soccer player guy comes in and threatens to rape the woman, and like because I think the dad owes money or something. It seems like maybe he owes money to crime family or something like that. And yeah, I mean that's what it's. I think they mentioned they're yakuza, but I don't know if the soccer player is kind because there's a soccer player and then there's the older guy that's like more calm but amoral. And he's sort of seems like a Yakuza guy. But yeah, basically Nishi is gets killed and he leaves his body, goes to an afterlife, meets some representation of God, and ends up running back to life and redoes the scene, ends up killing the guy. They go on the run. I guess I'm just going. They go on the run. They're chased by a bunch of Yakuza. Very cool animation. They go off a bridge. A whale eats them. They go into a whale. Now, most of the rest of the movie, they're inside of a whale. And
Yeah.
we've got Nishi and Mion, his like crush, and I think Yan is the her sister that's also with them. And then they meet an old man that's been living in the I mean spoilers for this movie, obviously. We're
Yeah,
talking
we're
no
full
spoilers for
spoilers,
everything.
by the way. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like at the end of
Uh yeah.
that.
And yeah, they meet this interesting old man and yeah, pretty insane. That's pretty much most of the rest of the movie is inside the whale.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like inside the whale, it's just kind of like they're living a little bit. They're just kind of doing stuff. They're learning to fish inside the whale. They meet that there's like they've learned that there's like extinct animals or fish living there. There's a plesiosaur or whatever it's called, a plesiosaur, the type of dinosaur that Loch Ness is, right? Like uh
Okay.
that type of thing with the flippers, you know what I'm talking about? The long neck.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
One of those things is in there, and they just kind of hang out with it, and it like swims with them a little bit and stuff. They ride it sometimes. Um, Kind of crazy, just weird stuff going on inside the whale.
Oh yeah.
And at the end, they try to get out of the whale. They realize I think the whale's dying. Um,
Yes, the whale
yeah,
is like not eating as much and stuff, so they think it might be dying. So yeah, they are escaping the whale, and they end up escaping the whale. They end up running on water to escape the whale. They're like on a boat. They're paddling as hard as they can. They end up running on the water and all this craziness. And yeah,
and then Nishi kind of like floats above the city. Um, you can see that he's like shot again, right? Like it's you kind of see while he's floating a little bit that a bullet. I mean, the bullet also at the beginning like shoots through his butt, and
yeah,
so that you see that happen kind of again while he's like floating out of the whale, and then he kind of floats above the city and uh kind of I guess sees like different parts of people's lives um and
yeah.
that's
We
kind
we
of where the
see
movie kind of ends. I mean,
we
there's
see like another we see another version where Mion like because at the beginning she's getting on the train and her foot gets stuck
yeah, right.
and then that's how the soccer player gets on the train to follow her to her dad's, but this time she doesn't get stuck, so then he can't follow her, so then none of this happens in this timeline, I guess, or whatever. And then there's sort of a montage at the end that shows like the old man's life from World War II and all the way through his entire life and up through the beginning of Nishi and Mion's life and sort of a montage of every of moments in their lives. And that's pretty much where it sort of ends, except it says the story has never ended. And that's the instead of saying the end, it says the story has never ended. So
Yeah,
very we I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
yeah, yeah. And also it's notable, I think, the movie begins on a montage of
Yes.
kind seemingly unrelated things that we see
Yes.
later in the movie. Each of them I think we end up seeing a little bit later. Um, and it's interesting because that montage also utilizes a lot of different animation styles, and we end up seeing those things happen in those animation styles later on too, um, which is pretty interesting. And then obviously ending on the montage, so you're kind of, not the same montage, but you're kind of back at a montage and
Yeah, there's something circular
cycle.
and it bookends it. Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's I mean a very interesting. I'm into the story, right? I think the whole living in the whale thing was pretty cool and pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Big thing I'm not into is uh Mion's like just extremely hyper over sexualization, or being extremely hyper over
yeah,
sexualized throughout the entire movie, and
yeah,
Nishi being extremely creepy, and then they get together, and
yeah.
yeah,
He's very strange. Like at the beginning, there's the moment where it's fun, like it's actually pretty hilarious. Like it shows like a guy, a human like live action face on him, and he's like please marry me.
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny. And then it shows that that's like what he wants to say to her, but he doesn't actually say it. Um, so yeah, he's kind of, I don't know. I don't know that he's like, I don't know. He is creepy, yeah, because he's like creeping on them when they're like bathing and when they're in the
Yeah.
whale. So that is, but in the beginning, that he's sort of, he's kind of just like an incel like loser who like won't say his feelings to her. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. Um, but yeah, I think the worst part of the movie is the attempted rape scene at the beginning and
Yeah.
the fact that it's really just used as a plot device and like there's Mion never like there's no indication of like her emotional or response to it or anything like that. Like the movie just moves on and that might as well not have even happened. So it's extremely like I mean it's completely unnecessary because it doesn't really have I guess that's part of the reason he gets angry and is going to confront the guy and then get shot kind of. But it's the fact that the movie completely ignores her experience of it is very it just sucks. It's clearly like very much from this guy's mind and it's only from his perspective and there's no taking into account her as a three-dimensional character. She's really just an object of desire for Nishi. So that's definitely a pretty bad aspect of the movie where the movie does literally objectify her character for a lot for most of it. So yeah, that is definitely the worst part of the movie for me. Definitely
Yeah.
unfortunate because there's so many cool aspects of the movie, but that's such a glaring
Yeah.
issue that it's like you can't overlook it really, or at least I can't. So yeah.
I feel very similar. And it's so early in the movie
Yeah.
that there's no time for you to really understand what could be relevant about like what where they're going with it before it happens, and then obviously it doesn't uh like you said, it doesn't really hit on, you know, what the impact of that, could be or anything.
Yeah.
And it's just about him, right? And that's the movie's all about him. And even in that moment, and even
Right.
the repercussions of that are not about her, but about him. And that's like rough.
Yeah, it actually, yeah, it's basically just like a plot point, and it actually kind of like minimizes the reality of like the effect of that sort of a thing to where it's like, oh, well, if that happens and then whatever, what whatever, a sexual assault is occurring, it's like, well, it's done now. There's no after effects, and it actually does like minimize the harm of it. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just in the way that it's
absolutely.
told. So yeah, pretty fucking bad.
Yeah. And it's so early in the movie too that like it just put such a bad taste in my mouth
Yeah.
for an unfortunate amount of the movie. And
Yeah,
um
and the fact that she is so over sexualized too, it's like
yeah.
the sexuality aspect of it is like an important part of the movie. So then that's such a glaring issue is just present throughout the movie basically.
Yeah, and extremely over sexualized in like animation too, right? Like
Yeah.
um and it's just a very unfortunate unfortunate thing that like I don't know. And then when they like he's like creeping on them in the shower and everything and is like kind of pushy at times and stuff and then they get together and I will say this is going to sound weird.
Yes.
The sex scene is maybe the coolest thing in
Yeah.
the whole movie.
It's really well
Um,
done. I know. It's unfortunate because of the context of the story. It's well, like weird, but it's so well done. Like
yeah,
the animation is really great.
yeah,
And
and
it's
it's like
not it's
shifting. Yeah,
yeah, it's like abstracted, so it's not as graphic, I guess, but it kind of shows the two becoming one flesh sort of an idea, and it's pretty beautiful and well done. But yeah,
yeah, and it's like and it's pretty surreal, and the animation
yeah,
is shifting all the time, and it's very visually satisfying and just really unique, right? I mean, extremely unique. And at times it looks like kind of crayon people kind of like fusing together, not like people that look like crayons, but people that are made out of crayons fusing together, made with drawn with crayons, I guess, right? Like fusing together, and at other times it looks um like neon strips coming together and stuff, and just the way that it explores how these different pieces and parts of people can come together, and when something like that happens is really interesting. um and
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was really cool. That was honestly at the beginning when I said there's sequences that if you made it into a short film would be some of the coolest shit ever. That's one of them. Out of the context of this movie, if you just remove it from the context of the
Right.
movie, like if people don't want to watch this movie, watching this scene could still be awesome. Like you should still watch this scene, maybe. Like, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, and that is a great scene. I also really like the chase scene in the car,
Mm-hmm.
when they're and then getting eaten by the whale. That whole sequence was very well done. That sequence, mainly the stuff in the restaurant with the criminal and all that kind of stuff, felt very like almost post Tarantino, where the I think this movie does have like a post Tarantino element to it, where also it's a lot of the director's weird fantasies and fetishes are on the screen, which is a very Tarantino thing. And then like it's just 100% from this male perspective, and there is like yeah, it's like just and also the crime element of it all, and sort of the we're replaying it from a different thing, like a little non-linear like sort of aspect to it. But yeah, just like criminals with like sharp, witty dialogue, and then we're gonna also be vulgar and violent and also like kind of misogynistic, but almost not actively misogynistic, but just through like being an immature male. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Tarantino has this vibe of like I'm perpetually like a 13-year-old boy who like I'm like I just love this thing and I'm gonna do it. And then I and without like thinking like from any other perspective, which I mean, in a way, like that makes him have sort of his own. He has wears his influences on his sleeve, makes whatever. Anyway, but I felt that from this movie, which makes for like, oh wow, this scene is really cool and unique. But then it also makes for, oh wow, this movie treats its female characters like dog shit, pretty much. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an interesting comparison because uh yeah, I'm not the biggest Tarantino fan, and and I think yeah, I think that kind of hits on some of the same stuff that I don't really like. I mean, I like some stuff that Tarantino does, right? But um overall, I would say some of that other stuff there does like downplay a lot of the movies for me. Um but yeah, I think this it's
yeah,
interesting because story-wise and visually it's very interesting.
yeah. And there
Yeah,
there are great sequences when he dies and he's like in this like almost there's like these computer screens around him. It says now lording instead of now loading, which is kind of funny. And then like so that whole sequence is very cool and unique. And there's the part where they're talking to the old man who's been in this whale for 30 years, and they talk about rotating sushi bar, and he's imagining sushi that's spinning and like all the different direct like that was just a great joke.
that
So
was
like
funny.
that, and I love that. Like that's great. So yeah, there are like so many good aspects to it, but I feel like the movie's horniness and immaturity like holds it back from being as great as it could be.
Yeah. Yeah, if this was just like a cool, surreal, uh, what happens after you die type of movie, I would have been like super into it. I think those aspects are really interesting. And I think the movie kind of asks those questions of like, what does happen after you die? Like, you know, are there other chances? Like, is everything set in stone? Are you being controlled by some god, right? Is that, whatever. I think there's all sorts of interesting questions that kind of are posed by the fact that he dies and comes back and all this stuff. And then also at the end, where was he ever actually back, is an interesting
Yeah, right. Is
lens,
this
right?
all fantasy? Is this all like what is the real version of this? We're just seeing these different like potential timelines. Is that what it is? But
Right.
yeah, and I had a thought. I've been
Yeah.
meaning to say this to you. I'll just say it now. But you mentioned we talked about that movie Eternity. which is about like the afterlife, and she
Yeah.
has two husbands and whatever. And you called it sci-fi, and I was like, I haven't seen that movie, but it didn't seem like it's sci-fi. And then we were like, well, is it fantasy? Like, what is it? And I think the term would be speculative fiction, which
Mm.
includes sci-fi and fantasy, but it's sort of just a broader term of things that speculate on unknown topics. You know what I mean? So I think that would be the category for probably for this too. Of
Yeah.
like, because it's not like when you think fantasy, I think of like Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings, like a
Yeah,
fantasy
like high
world.
fantasy generally. Yeah.
Yes. And then sci-fi, obviously, there's usually science involved, rather than just sort of just theoretical ideas of what could happen. So this is a very speculative movie of these different timelines and what could happen and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a good distinction there with the term. Speculative fiction is a cool term that I think it's used a lot, but I think the like what fits better in speculative fiction than it does in other things is kind of there's some interesting nuance there. Not that everything has to fit one genre, obviously, but like,
Yeah.
does it make sense to call Interstellar speculative? Not real. Like, it's just a
Yeah.
sci-fi movie, you know? I mean,
Well, right, right.
well,
But I think
Interstellar, I don't know, yeah, but
sci-fi does like fit within the like umbrella of speculative fiction. At
yeah,
least from
but
what I looked it up on Wikipedia.
yeah, no, and I think that makes sense. But I think like, I mean, it's like, would you call Lord of the Rings speculative fiction? You would probably just call it high fantasy, right?
Well, yeah.
But
But
and
that you could say that falls under the category of speculative fiction, I guess. Like
yeah,
within a broader
yeah,
umbrella.
and I agree. But I think that like there is kind of a niche of movies that explore these things that don't fit into those other two, like you were saying,
Right.
like maybe Eternity or this or
Yes.
even like Enter the Void or Everything Everywhere
I
All at Once, maybe too, right? Like
mm,
things that kind of don't really fit maybe in sci-fi or in fantasy, but do explore some of those questions.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So some of those sort of orphan ones, like that's maybe a term that could be used for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, that's
Um,
interesting.
yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I just kind of meant to mention that to you, so I just brought it up. Yeah. One insane scene. There's two insane scenes that I don't know what to make of them at all. But one of them is the psychedelic dancing scene.
Yeah,
I think, is that just them being happy? Like
this is
they're
when
all,
there's the balloon too. Like
that's right
right after.
after this. Right
Yeah, yeah,
after, those are the two scenes that I'm talking about. But yeah, the psychedelic one, it was just very colorful and it was just
right.
craziness, completely crazy. And then yes, the so Jan at one point she cuts her hair into a more masculine sort of look. She looks more boyish. And then and notably, because this is part of the movie, Mion, who's like the object of his affection, main love interest of the movie, has like gigantic boobs, uh, which is very, very silly the way it's animated, to be honest. But she has like none. She has like a very flat chest. And then they, for some reason, I don't know what, I don't know. She like puts on she has these balloon like boobs and like a balloon like
Well,
dick kind of
yeah, I
a
don't
situation.
kind of, except it has babies in it. I don't know if it was supposed to be a womb, although it does look like a dick. But like,
There's babies. There was
yeah, remember
babies in it.
she cuts it open,
Oh,
and there's like little baby dolls that were like floating in it that she
oh
spills out
yeah.
everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Maybe it's
th-
supposed to be.
yeah, because at
Yeah.
first I was like, is this supposed to be like a gender identity type of thing and stuff? But then I'm like, or is that just supposed to be like, birthing and motherhood and stuff? I don't know. So I don't know. It was kind
I
of
have
I
no
don't.
idea. But she was like, there's like paint, and she was like spraying paint on things or something. It
No,
was,
paint was getting dumped on her into different
yeah,
colors, and she would jump onto a fan in
yes,
a different position, and then it would spin and but she does this like 8 or 9 times, and it's a pretty slow process,
yeah,
and the scene is pretty long, and it's so weird, and yeah, it kind of, and I think that scene there definitely builds off of the scene just before that you were talking about, where it's
yeah.
kind of psychedelic and stuff. Um, and yeah, I also, I mean, I wrote down pretty much that I thought those scenes were just strange, and that I
Yeah.
thought they were kind of visually interesting, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what's going
I
on.
just wrote what was that with a bunch of question marks. And
Yeah.
that was it. So yeah.
Um, yeah, I thought that was interesting. And it's like, I think it's like pretty much just before they figure out the whale's dying, too, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't really know. It's like just, yeah, weird, kind of strange.
Very
Um,
strange. Not kind of strange. Very
very
strange.
strange.
Extremely strange.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Also visually interesting. Like I think I'm sure you could read into that those two scenes there and if, take all sorts of interpretations out of them. I don't know if I really left with any interpretations on them.
Yeah.
I,
I don't have anything. I only this was my first time seeing the movie. I didn't rewatch it or anything, so maybe on a rewatch I'd have more of an opinion on that. But also maybe I'd watch it, I'd be like, I have no idea what's going on.
yeah. Yeah, I think this movie for me, um I I don't think I would rewatch this movie. Um
Hmm.
I didn't hate
See,
it.
I think I could definitely see myself rewatching it at some point. I think there's
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a pretty short runtime. There's a lot of interesting aspects to it. I could see myself rewatching it potentially.
Yeah,
Maybe.
there's definitely some interesting stuff. It's honestly just those things that it's just the way it treats Mion really for pretty much the entire movie that's really hard to get over. And I feel like watching it again, I really don't think I'd feel better about it.
Yeah.
Um, and like I could see myself watching on YouTube that this is gonna sound weird. Nobody clipped this.
Whoa,
I could
jeez.
see myself on YouTube watching that sex scene,
Oh
and
my
damn
gosh,
it.
clip it, clip it.
But like that scene, and again, right? It's not actually a very explicit scene, but it's just so visually um and like I don't know, it was just interesting and cool, and it looked cool, and I think there's a lot of ways
Yeah.
to read into that. And I can see myself rewatching that scene, and maybe even like that psychedelic party scene and stuff.
Yeah.
I can see myself like exploring parts of this movie again, but I think as a whole, I think I'm that sour taste in my mouth like never truly left. Partly because it just keeps happening. Like
Yeah.
it kind of just keeps over sexualized. It just
Yeah.
keeps like it's pretty bad to her the whole movie. Like
Yeah, and she never has any agency really at all from what I remember. Or like we never get learn of anything about her really very much. Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean we learn more about maybe the old man than we do her.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunate. Yeah, so this was a tough one to rate. I don't know if you have anything
Yeah.
else to say about it, but I gave it 3.5 stars just because it's interesting. So maybe last week I watched a movie called Reptile. It's on Netflix. It's a crime. Benicio del Toro plays a cop. He's a detective, and there's been a murder. He has to figure out what's going on. And I also gave that 3.5 stars. And I thought these were an interesting contrast because Reptile it's a Netflix movie. It got kind of mediocre reviews, but I enjoyed it. And like that's a movie you could throw on like a rainy Sunday afternoon, throw it on. It's well made. Benicio del Toro is a great actor. It's enjoyable throughout. It's interesting. There's nothing incredible, mind blowing about it, but there's nothing bad about it either. So I was like, all right, 3.5. It was like a really solid movie. But then this is a version where we have like aspects that are really great and then aspects that are really bad. And so I kind of just ended up meeting it sort of in the middle, I guess, at a 3.5. But that just goes to show that these ratings are a little
Yeah.
bit meaningless, and each one means a different thing, and it's all kind of you're you're just the ratings aren't that important is
Yeah,
what I'm trying to
totally.
say because I gave them both 3.5, but they're such different experiences.
Yeah, which is part of why also just heading back to just like the use of letterbox maybe. Um part of, part of why I like to write a small review for everything is because sometimes
Mm,
I literally just write a little joke, right? Like I think I watched
mm.
Leprechaun Back to the Hood recently and I wrote just a little joke, right? Like I don't care, right? First time you see Leprechaun's feet, by the way, for real. That's a true fact.
Wow,
Um,
there you go. Lore.
yeah,
Also, happy just a couple days after St. Patrick's Day to anyone.
yeah, that's
We're
why
recording
I
this the
watched
day
this. So,
before. Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense. Did you have
I'm not
green
just
eggs and
kind of
ham
randomly
or
watching the Leprechaun movies. Um, but
Leprechaun 6 or whatever it is?
yeah, yeah. But but part of why I like to do that is because I do agree very much that like just a rating is so incredible and you know whatever. I know everyone uses Letterboxd differently and I think that's the whole point of it, right? But um you know, I find myself when I was using it a while back and I was just leaving ratings, part of it, like I would go back and think about that movie and I'd be like, um, oh yeah, but I remember like this one thing that I really liked. Like, why did I give it like
Mm,
a 3 star? Right. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, like I'm kind of forgetting maybe some of the things that I didn't like as much and vice
Mm.
versa would happen too. And not that like I need like this way like a diary to remember. You know, I'm not like the guy in Memento, right? Like I'm not waiting for every but
No, but I get it. So you have a more uh you have your thoughts so you can remember them and when you look back you have a little bit more of an explanation rather than just the rating, which is pretty insufficient.
yeah, right. And same like thinking about rating other movies, right? If I'm like going back and I'm like, okay, well, how is this sixth Leprechaun movie compared to the others? I'm like, I straight up don't know. You know, it's like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
probably also like 2 stars. I don't know, like where does it fall, right? And so, and I think also part of it is like, you know, what I think when people see my ratings, you know, they might be like, whoa, this guy gave The Life of Chuck 5 stars. Let me look at that review. Go look at my Life of Chuck review, you know? Um, but whatever. And they might like think more about what's actually going on in the movie or in my head while I'm watching it because ultimately movies are just subjective, right? It's like the ratings are cool and they might tell you a little bit about how I feel, but like really it's just my words that can really tell you how I feel, right? So
Oh yeah, definitely makes sense.
anyways, that was a
Yeah.
rant. But yeah,
No, hey,
I
what'd you give
uh,
Mind Game?
yeah, I felt very similar. All that to say, I felt very similar in terms of like how the hell do I rate this movie?
Hmm.
Some scenes that I literally would give 5 stars as short films, and I like the concept, and um, but as it is, there's a lot that I didn't like, and I think it was really hard to get past that stuff for me.
Hmm.
And I landed pretty similar. I ended up giving it 3 stars. So, but again, I think very similar here. I'm like, how do you
Yeah.
weigh these things, right? I don't know.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I just wonder. I would not rush to rewatch this movie for sure, which is unfortunate. It feels like I don't know. There's an aspect that feels a little bit like squandered potential. It's like, oh, if you didn't have this one glaring issue, then perhaps like this could have been more of a classic, like for me.
Yeah.
So it's a little like disappointing in that way, you know what I mean? So, it's unfortunate, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. And I agree. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm kind of like, I want to send that scene to like people just like, hey, you like weird film, here's a cool thing to watch, you know? But like
Yeah.
I don't think I want to recommend this movie necessarily. You know, it's
Right.
like you gotta know what I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, I will say, our next movie, I think we both agree, no glaring issues with this one. I think we both loved this movie. Marcel the Shell with Shoes on. This was your pick.
Yes.
Yeah, so this was my second time seeing it. And yeah,
Although I
lovely
do
movie.
real quick, I do have a rating recap
Oh yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
Mind Game,
Recap.
which is interesting because it's kind of like a cult classic. There's not, and you were mentioning this earlier too. There's not like as much viewership for this movie
Hmm.
necessarily as something like Marcel the Shell, um, but it's got a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, a 4.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 100% Rotten Tomatoes critic score, and 92% audience score still too. So
Wow.
I mean, high numbers here. It comes out with an 8.775 average out of 10 for our metrics, which is really, really high, I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some cool stuff going on. It innovates a little bit in some cool places. It's kind of like, what the hell did I just watch in some cool places too? And then at other times, it's like, damn, it really just did that, huh? So,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of the reason I have always been wanting to watch it. I thought it looked cool and it had such great reviews. And right now, as of recording, it's number 328 on the Letterboxd Top 500. So, it's so acclaimed that yeah, a little bit disappointing, but yeah.
Yeah,
we gave our thoughts, I think, pretty thoroughly.
totally. But yeah, Marcel the Shell was what a change. What a shift,
Yeah,
by the way. Talking
yeah,
about yeah, what a shift to talk about Marcel the Shell with shoes on
such
after
a
Mind Game.
yeah, such a wholesome film, Marcel.
Yes, it really is, and it's very touching in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
Um, the premise here, I guess I can go over the premise real quick, but we have a documentary filmmaker that moves into an Airbnb, I guess, where a shell with an eyeball and shoes and a little face lives with his nana, and
yes,
they just live there. They do all sorts of stuff. They used to have a big community there, but that community left when accidentally when the family that used to live there, the couple that used to live there, broke up and the guy left. And and then so the story kind of follows the documentary filmmaker kind of learning about the shell's life and world and how he does things. Eventually they go on 60 minutes together in search for
spoilers.
Marcel's family. Yes, we're in full spoilers, by the way. Yeah. For both these, listen, you just
I
listed
know,
all
I
this
know,
stuff.
I
Yeah.
know. That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke.
They go on to 60 minutes in search of the family. Um, and uh and towards the end, uh it takes the whole time the nana is getting a little sicker during the movie
Yeah.
and at one point falls and breaks her shell open, um
Mhm.
which
And
sounds
she's
more dramatic than I guess it was. But
no, it
um
is, yeah. And she's also a little shell. And yes,
yeah.
these little sentient shells are very heartwarming. And yeah, Marcel is played by Jenny Slate, and Nana Connie is played by Isabella Rossellini, and Dean Fleischer Camp, the director, plays the documentary filmmaker who sort of builds a bond with the two shells. And yeah, from the beginning you see that Connie is like already having memory issues and her health is declining. And yeah, that's definitely the heart of the movie. And yeah, just a really, really sweet, beautiful movie. Uh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the reason why it's here for mixed media, obviously, if anyone's seen the movie, is that hopefully you've seen the movie, but
Yeah.
it's because it beautifully mixes stop motion with live action in really cool ways where you have Marcel the Shell animated in stop motion with also things happening in the real world. And maybe the best example of this, there's many moments when things are happening, but maybe the best, like most flawless examples are the car, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And also in the house when he's like on a very reflective table and the dog's roaming around. And
Yeah.
it's just amazing because you have these reflections in the car, you have like the reflection from the windshield, and
Yeah.
there you have the table reflection, and they're able to so seamlessly blend in the shadows, the reflections, the animation itself, and all this other stuff that it looks like it's actually happening right there in the live action set, but it's actually
Yeah.
the stop motion in those moments is done on sets and then somehow put into there in effects, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I watched the behind the scenes little like 20-minute documentary on the Blu-ray, and they do talk about how they had to, so like they shoot every, well, basically actually the process was the writing and the recording of the audio almost went hand in hand.
Mm.
So there's a lot of improv, and they would kind of work on the script and improv more and like work it out that way. And a lot of it is like Jenny Slate and Dean Fleischer Camp, like improving, and that's why they're the co-writers of the movie. And so yeah, that is a big element of it. So they have the audio, and then they have to get the live action footage, and then they do the stop motion. Well, they have to draw an animatic of everything, and then they have to do the actual stop motion and film the stop motion, and then they digitally combine them all. And there are moments they show in the documentary, like they're at the end. So in the story, Natakani ends up dying. Very emotional, very sad. And then they end up finding the family. The family comes back. Long story short. And at the end, when they're all like on the couch, and there's all of them, I love it. There's like a
Yeah, so
Cheeto,
good.
there's a Chex Mix guy, there's a
The
little,
pen
a
eraser.
yeah, like maybe like yeah, it's awesome. And they'll use like a hot dog bun as like a couch. Very funny. Love that. And they're all on the couch and they're like jumping and like landing on the couch and there are like indents in the couch and they had to have like a replica of the couch on set like for stop motion and they had these sticks underneath the couch where you could pull it down and it would pull like make because the figurines are so small they don't make an indent they don't weigh enough so they pull down and make the little indents where they land so it's like cool
Wow.
like I think the behind the scenes documentary on the Blu-ray really helped me appreciate like all the because the movie's so well done that it actually feels very seamless and like they talk about how much effort went into making it seem effortless and that you have to do all this work just to make it look like this is just improv with no planning at all. So it's and I think the behind the scenes definitely made me helped me appreciate that on my rewatch. Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I watched about half of the director's commentary, and it's with uh Dean Fleischer Camp, Jenny Slate, and also I think it's Nick Pavey, who's one of the co-writers as well. And it's with the three of them, and they're talking through a lot of it. And yeah, they talk a lot about just how much went into it. And one of the really interesting things was um Jenny Slate talking about watching the movie and how unique of an experience it is to watch this movie where you did these lines for it, but you know, I mean, the vision that you had of the movie might have been there, but to see it actually come together so seamlessly when you know that like you just did these lines and like that's your voice on a shell that like somehow it looks like it's working and like all this stuff looks so perfect. It was a really unique experience for her. And I was thinking to myself, I was reflecting on like, you know, watching these podcasts sometimes or watching videos of yourself sometimes can feel like, whoa, that's kind of weird, right? But like I think I imagine for actors watching a movie that you're in, at least you're like, hey, yeah, I remember that scene. You know, I did that scene, right? But like in this, it's like, yeah, that's a shell doing your thing, you know, and it looks so
Yeah.
real and it works, right? Um, and so I imagine that's like a really unique and reflective experience that not a lot of people share, right? That's cool.
Yeah. I also on the Blu-ray there are three short films
Yes,
of did you watch the short films?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was actually really cool. There are things from the short films that go into the feature, which is cool, like a couple lines here and there. And like the first one, I believe all the footage is really just like on a tripod and it's really just a photo and it's just all stop motion. There's really no live action like mixture in it. Which would make sense. That would be the easiest way to do it. And also the first one introduces the little lint ball pet that Marcel carries around, which is pretty funny.
Yes.
But in the second one, they introduce the dog and they introduce like live action footage. Like the Marcel will be outside and there's like you can see the leaves are in blowing in the wind, and even from the beginning, like it's obviously a lot simpler than in the feature, but it's cool to see the progression of the animation through the short films and then sort of the ultimate outcome in the feature. But yeah, so the second one they mix the live action, the stop motion, and then the third one there are they add zooms in with Marcel, and also Marcel will be moving while the camera is moving. So it's like little progressions in each one. And I think that stuff is just like so impressive of them having to line everything up like so perfectly and uh pretty crazy. Like there's even a
Yeah.
shot of they're like making popcorn and they're
Yeah.
with a lighter, not a lighter, with a magnifying glass, and the using the light to heat the little kernels. And so they start making popcorn and like it starts popping everywhere and like Dean like runs behind something so the camera's super shaky but and it just feels so real but you're like wow that must have been such a complicated shot to get and to mix it all together but it just feels so natural like it's very impressive.
It is, yeah. It's and it really is a really cool thing to watch that progression, like you were saying too, with the three short films. And actually this, so I a little backstory here with me picking this movie. I hadn't seen it before, but it had been on my list for a long time. I'd been excited to watch it, but never did. And when we pulled mixed media, I was like, hey, maybe I'll finally watch this, right? But I had a few other ideas. So I was like, maybe I'll watch a few things and see what I like and um, see what I want to pick, right? And I ended up watching this at a hotel while traveling, and I watched it on uh, Pluto TV, I think, with ads or whatever. And it was great. It was fantastic. Also, I will say, if you get the chance to watch this without ads, it's much better, obviously. But it was a great movie. It was fantastic. I was so impressed. And that night in the hotel, I bought the A24 4K to come in, and that way I could watch the director's commentary and see how they made it with the behind the scenes. And I knew that it had the short films on it, and I thought that was interesting too. It also comes with a nice booklet that has like a lot of. Have you flipped through the booklet?
Oh, not recently.
You got to. The it has some storyboarding, which is cool, a little bit of short like write-ups and stuff about how they did stuff. But then
Hmm.
the coolest thing is the character designs for characters that never ended up getting put in. There's
Oh
like
yeah.
driftwood that has a face and legs and shoes and like a mason jar with marbles in it that has like a face and shoes and things and like all sorts of really adorable, really cool things that um just add a lot to like the world building here of like there's just all these weird cool inanimate objects that are real and have things going on, right, and have this whole world to them. And so I will say, I mean, just in terms of I think we're both obviously big proponents of physical media, you know, but I think this is a cool one to have because like you were saying too, it's like it's I think it's easy to, you know, when I first watched it I was impressed, but also without thinking about it too much, it does kind of, you know, you kind of just feel like, oh, cool, it's stop motion, or oh, cool, it's like, you know, they did a cool job making this look cool and real. But then like you think more about it, it's like actually, how the hell did they do some of that, right? Like with the car and
Yeah.
all this stuff. And so it's so impressive that this is really one that I think people would get a ton out of diving into the short films and that progression, into the behind the scenes, into that booklet of looking through the cool fucking sketches of everything. Like I would say if it's in your means to get physical media, this is one that I would strongly recommend. Go out, buy the Blu-ray or the 4K, whatever you know you can watch. Um, and I think you'll have such a blast learning about what they did. I didn't watch the documentary on there that you watched, and I'm excited to watch it. But you know,
Yeah.
I think this is one where uh I have to recommend buying the physical one here. It's so cool. So
Yeah, it's cool. The A24 Blu-rays, they're kind of expensive, but they are pretty cool. Like they do
yeah,
a good job with they're usually like digipacks and they have like booklets and cool stuff. So they're on the pricier side, but I do like getting them. I know Marty Supreme is coming out soon, which I know you won't be getting, but I already placed my order for Marty Supreme, so I'm excited to rewatch
I'm
it.
glad. I'm glad. But yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think for the price they come with, I would say they don't always come with the most special features, but
Yeah.
definitely some. And I think here, I think the ones they have, um like I think if you liked this movie, the special features they have will really be up there for you, probably. So
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's totally worth checking out. I imagine the short films are available on YouTube because I think that's where it started. Which is kind of cool that it's like almost it plays into the plot where Dean, who's played by Dean, starts making videos with Marcel and they go viral on YouTube and the 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 foolish idea of giving out your address on YouTube, horrific, terrible idea. It's insane.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and they talk about YouTube, the YouTube audience, they're 20 million views on this video and stuff, but realizing that this is an audience and not a community, and then the community and family aspect is so important. But yeah, just a beautiful movie, very funny too. It's like very heartwarming and touching, but also like really hilarious. And yeah, it's just so great.
Yeah, it really and it's very funny, and also at times it's like so ingenious in what they do at times, where it makes
Yeah.
you sometimes you'll laugh about it, sometimes you'll be like there's one time that's really funny, but he uses like hair in a sink to make like rope, which is kind of
Pubic hair.
disgusting. And yeah, I will, yeah, it's pubic hair in a drain. But and it's kind of, and Dean is just like laughing, and he's like, what's so funny or something, and it's very funny and very cute. But
Yeah.
then and it's also like creative, and there's other times he amazing the berry tree outside, he has this like rope attached to is it a blender? No, not blender.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a blender.
A blender.
It's a to pull down the berries,
Yeah.
I guess, or whatever they are.
Yeah, and it just shakes the tree. And also in the commentary, the tree is like CGI. It's just like visual effects.
Oh wow.
And I never thought about it, but then you watch it and they're talking about that, and they're laughing at how outrageous it is, and you start to realize that it's actually shaking like like a
Yeah, it's doing a
lot
lot of shaking. Yeah.
for like a little blender to like pull it back and forth. So
Yeah.
um but yeah,
And
so really cool creative problem solving that he does to make his world work.
yeah. And in the seeing the behind the scenes and how much of the writing like was also improv and recording this improv. Like there are moments in the movie, like on this rewatch, where I was like, oh, that felt just like an improv moment that was very genuine and like made it in. And I even wonder if the Kush moment with Isabella Rossellini, I wonder if like that was written or if she didn't know that. Like if they had the idea of that, oh, that'd be a joke. And then she just said, "What is Kush?" And she actually said that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Isabella Rossellini is so great in this. Like so yeah, Nana Connie is just so sweet and she just her voice performance is really great and she has like a very gentle and gets that across in just her voice. Like obviously Nana Connie's not there's no facial expressions or anything, but it's all through the voice performance. You get her like nurturing you completely connect with the character.
Yeah. Also amazing, just thinking about being able to get Isabella Rossellini and all this stuff they were able to do for this movie, the visual effects that they're able to put into it and all this stuff. They had I want to say like a $6 million budget or something, which is awesome. Like it's like they went from making these like three short films on YouTube that progressively got cooler and cooler to being able to make this movie with some budget and be able to do really cool stuff, like get a fairly big name person to come in and do a really awesome job with their role here. So
Yeah. And Marcel, Nanacani, calls him Marcello, and his parents' names are Catherine and Mario. So Marcel the Shell is canonically Italian, and he is
that's right.
Italian representation. So there you go.
That's right. And it's also funny, speaking of I guess where they come from, I guess, whatever. But Nana Connie is from the garage at one point, he says. He
Yeah,
says she moved here from the garage. And
that that's why she has that accent, he says. Yeah.
yeah. And
It's
it
not an Italian accent, it's a garage accent.
yeah. And so it's just very clever.
Yeah.
Whatever whether it's improv or not, it feels so natural and clever in the dialogue, in the set. Like there's times when they have like a fancier restaurant set up. There's times when they're just like sitting on like corks and eating and stuff. But then there's a time when you see like a fancier setup. And it's like the champagne bottle toppers, like the things that keep the cork on with the screw,
Yeah.
and they're bent to look like a nice chair and everything. And it's just cute and creative and very effective at making you feel like this is somehow a real world, right?
Yeah.
The contrast here between like the emotional maturity and depth and like authenticity feeling of this movie with the total absurdity of these tiny inanimate shells being talking and
Yeah.
breathing and real is like, I mean, it's really why, like, this movie is not for the people that maybe would ask, like, well, what's going on? How is Marcel able to do this? Right? This movie is not
Yeah, that
for that, right?
yes, like if you think about those aspects of it, of how do they reproduce, where do they come from, how did they, like all the details of it, like the movie's really not about that. It's just using the shells as a way to explore this very human story. It's just like a character and his grandmother and dealing with grief and aging and all these all these things. So it's really just a human story, just with a very cute wrapping, you know. But yeah, all those, yeah, it's interesting. I feel like those are usually things where I'd be like, well, how does he move around? You know, does he have legs? What's going on? But normally I feel like I would ask that, but I feel like the movie's just so well done and just endearing and charming and funny that it's like none of that matters. And the story is so well done that I'm not gonna. I think it would be silly for that to be a hang up for me at least.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think um I think my fiancés can sometimes be like, hey, how could that possibly, like, I can't really get into it because I don't believe it, right?
Yeah.
But for this movie, we were watching in the hotel, and at first I think she might have been like that a little bit. Actually, she was a little apprehensive of watching the movie at first because she was like,
Mm,
it's kind of dumb. It's a little shell. And I was like, yeah, but it's supposed to be cute. Like, let's just give it a try, right? And she loved it, right? And she,
nice.
along with me, was as a very big fan. And so, I think that there's something about the way that it blends somehow that authenticity feeling with the absurdity that, like, actually works really well. Where I think even if you maybe do naturally do that, like you or she does, um, I think it can somehow just get through that for people, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
definitely.
like you said too, it's like it's just such a human story that it's so easy to get sucked into it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it was very easy to connect with the characters and yeah, I loved it. So yeah, definitely held up on the second viewing. And I don't know. I don't know if I have that much else to say about it. Very impressed by I like the Leslie Stahl stuff
Yeah.
and uh Marcel kind of being, I don't know, it was a very like very human, like I just thought it was so well done and like perceptive the way the characters act and the way that Connie wants the best for him, but he's like kind of, you know, just worried about everything that's going on and doesn't want to rock the, I don't know, doesn't want to cause any issues, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thought it was very kind of brilliant when they go in the car and Marcel sees how gigantic the world is and like to this guy his whole world has just been this house in this yard, like the garage is far away, and now he's like, oh my God, look at you, they go up on the top of the hill and it's like there's thousands of houses you can see from here, and this is only part of one city and there's thousands of other cities that are even just as big as Los Angeles, you know, like just the, so to for him to, I feel like and then obviously that impacts him sort of being depressed about the fact that he's like, oh, it's actually going to be impossible for me to find my family. But then with the power of 60 Minutes investigation, through the power of investigative journalism, they find the couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, it's such a nice movie. It is very like emotional, but it's also just sweet and uplifting, and it's not a sad viewing like there are sad moments obviously, but I feel like the overall experience is enjoyable and uplifting, and it's not like like a downer at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like you said, I think there's moments where you'll definitely be feeling
Oh
sad
yeah.
or whatever. But
This is a crier. This
yeah.
is if you're watching this, you're gonna at least have some, it's gonna get dusty. You'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
tearing up. It's like there's some dust in the theater. What's going on? At least, at the very least.
Yeah. But then, yeah, at the end, I mean, he finds his family. I think it's really like a life affirming story about
Hmm.
kind of how, even if we're this small thing in this big world, we can explore it, and we can have all these emotions and friends and community and all this stuff. Um and I think it's really, I think it's powerful, and I think it's cute, and I think it's so much more than I thought it would be going in. And I
Hmm.
think um if there's maybe like one thing that like hopefully I think people could take out of a little review they might see on Letterboxd or something about this movie, it's that like it actually has so much more emotional depth than you might think, right? Like
Mm.
at this point we're like so far in on spoilers that like
Yeah, everyone
everyone's
has seen
seen
it.
it, but like I think that's really the thing. Like I think if you're not if somebody out there or somebody that hasn't watched it because they're like, oh, it's probably just like a cute movie or whatever, I don't really care that much. It's like I think I was certainly surprised, and my partner as well, and I think a lot of people are probably surprised with just how much this movie has to it that's not just a shell, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. This is definitely I mean, it is family friendly, but really it's just it's pretty adult, I'd
Yeah,
say. Like mainly I feel like it's more made for adults than kids.
yeah, yeah, I agree. um Also,
Yeah.
it's kind of just like one last thing is thinking that it's just kind of cool to see, and this goes into just the amount of detail they have to put into it too, but the camera, the way that it's shot is also just like at this level of at this level, not focus I guess, but of zoom I guess, where like we don't normally see things that close up, and like the
Yeah.
textures are really neat, and like it's just like one small piece of the filmmaking that adds to it feeling like its own world, but also like now like I look at a desk and I'm like, whoa, the wood grains. Like not that it's like really changed my perspective on everything, but like I think it's kind of cool to see and think about just that scale of things a little bit more, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I agree. The seeing it from that tiny perspective, seeing the world from that tiny perspective is always cool. So yeah, I loved it. I don't know, should we do ratings? Is there anything else you want to say?
I think ratings are good. I mean, I feel like I have so much to say about this movie, but honestly, it's all the same stuff. It's so great. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have anything new to say. It's just awesome. Like
Yeah.
it's so touching. So
Yeah.
um
Incredible movie. I went full 5 stars on this one.
hell yeah. I did too. Hell yeah. This movie's
Nice.
awesome.
Double 5 stars. Joining the double 5 star. I should make a list on Letterboxd of a
Oh,
double 5 star club.
that's
10
smart.
10 star club.
Whoa, yeah. Oh,
That should be that'd be good.
yeah. That would be cool.
We can have the 10 star club. There's not that many movies that we've both given 5 stars that we've covered, I don't think.
No, I mean, I can think of only a small handful. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
it's cool to have that list out there. So maybe, yeah, maybe that'd be cool to put together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, love this movie. Oh, rating recap for this too.
Yes.
Um, it's a pretty well received movie. It has a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb, a 4.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 98% critic score, and 90% uh, user score, whatever, bringing it to an 8.7 out of 10 average, which is
Nice.
somehow just a tiny bit less than Mind Game.
But Mind Game it has less reviews and stuff,
Yeah,
so I think it would balance out if it had a wider viewership for sure. But yeah, this one's fantastic. It came out in 2021, so I feel like it's kind of gone a little under the radar. Like it, or I guess actually it came out in 2022. It looks like it played
yeah,
Telluride in 2021 and then actually came out in theaters in June of 2022. So I guess it was sort of in the post-COVID era. I feel like that was still in the hangover from COVID where stuff was still not, I don't know, it was just kind of a weird time for movies. Uh, and yeah, I mean, I feel like this should be a little more well known. Obviously, it's well known, but it's like I don't know. It's pretty fantastic.
yeah. And that's kind of how I feel too about, like I was saying, with like, I think that some people might look at this movie and just assume they know what it is, and I think
Yeah.
it could, and I think that could be an easy assumption maybe here, because it kind of, I think on its face can look like that, right? And the shorts, right? It's built on some shorts that are interesting but not particularly emotionally in depth. Um,
Yeah.
and but this really is just so much more than that, and I think it's viewed right now by only 450,000 people on Letterboxd. But it is in the top 250, which is cool, or top
Right.
500 now. But it's number 238 of the top 250 on Letterboxd. which is awesome. So I think it deserves to be, up on there. So that's great.
Yeah, exactly. Glad it gets its recognition. Marcel, what a guy. Uh, just a wonderful little guy.
What a guy. Love
Yeah.
him.
Love a little guy. Paddington, Grogu, Babu Frick. Who's another little guy? Chicken Little, Stuart
Mm.
Little. Um,
We're gonna get little guys as our next
the
episode.
the kid from Like Mike. Relative to NBA players, he's a little guy because he's a child.
That's insane.
Um, Peter Dinklage and Elf. No, I'm just kidding. Now I'm getting a little okay. All right, bad joke, bad joke. Cancel me.
Yikes. Um,
Peter Dinklage in another movie, Station Agent. I don't know. I've never seen Station Agent. Anyway,
anyways,
love
we're
movies about a little guy.
yeah, this is definitely, I think, just uh a really interesting world to explore too with Marcel. I mean, I think again, there's so much creative stuff that's shown and done and everything.
Oh yeah,
Um, I don't know. Again, I could rave about this movie all. I think it was just such a great experience. So
yep. I'm glad you watched it, and I'm glad I rewatched it.
nice.
I think also like the first time I saw it, it was more emotional than I expected. So then
Mm,
maybe I was would have waited longer to rewatch it because I was like, oh boy, that one's a crier. And then this time I was like, all right, it's still emotional and it's still affecting, but it's not like I'm not gonna like bawl my eyes out every time I see this movie. So I'm like, oh yeah, I could probably it has a higher rewatchability value now that I've crossed the Rubicon.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Out of curiosity, did your rating change from last
Yeah,
time?
I think I gave it 4 stars the first time I saw it. Maybe
Nice.
like a strong 4 stars probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this time I was kind of like after watching, I was like, well, I could give it 4.5, and then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna give it 5 stars. And
Yeah, just send it. Yeah.
yeah, come on. There's no point in holding back on 4.5. The movie's like, and I do think seeing the behind the scenes like did help me appreciate the craft of the movie a lot, and maybe that like helped bump it up in the score a little bit. But yeah, just seeing how meticulous it was and all the craft and effort and how many people work on it and on the stop motion and everything, like it's pretty incredible. So I would totally recommend people to check that out and get an appreciation for the behind the scenes of these kind of things. Stop motion is such a work intensive craft. It's really cool.
Yeah. Speaking of, real quick, while I see that you're about to get ready the category cup.
Category
So
Cup.
at the end of our main episodes, we pick a random category from a huge list of things that we've got. That could be decades, actors, directors, genres, themes, whatever. It could be anything really. And so we're about to pick our next one, but we did one not too long ago on stop motion. And so
Yeah.
we did some movies that kind of fit into mixed media, at least one that
Yeah.
definitely does, The Wolf House, and one I think Mad God kind of has some.
It has live action and stop motion.
Right, you're right.
Yeah.
And so that's also another great episode to go check out if you haven't seen that one yet and you're
Yeah.
like, hey, stop motion stuff is pretty cool.
Yes, exactly. That was only a few months back. But yeah, both those Wolf House and Mad God were both really creative and pretty fantastic. Wolf House, that was probably I feel like one of our best like discoveries on the podcast because it's a
Yeah.
pretty obscure movie. And yeah, I think that was your pick, and that was a good pick.
Yeah, I think that was a really cool movie that was like if I could have picked it for mixed media,
Yeah,
I would have, but we've already done it, and it'd
yeah,
be extremely weird to talk about the movie twice. We would never do that. So,
yeah. I don't think we're gonna be redoing movies. I wonder. Maybe one day we could do. It's funny on the Rewatchables podcast. They've done Heat, and then they did the Reheat. So they reheated. So yeah, I think
that's funny.
they did it twice. I think they've done 3 Heat podcasts. But yeah.
We
So,
can readapt. That was, I think, our first
oh
episode was
yeah.
adaptation of Raising Arizona.
Yeah, that'd be good. And we could oh man, that would be fucked up. We could do a podcast about the podcast to make it really adaptation meta.
That would be sick.
No, that would be awful. Like, so I'd have to watch
that
the whole podcast.
that could be like our if we ever make, I don't know, what are we on? We're on like episode 39 or something, maybe 40
Think
or
so,
something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
If we ever make it to like 1,000 or something, we could do
A thousand. Yeah. If we do, yeah. Yeah, I think we're on, I don't know, 39 or something.
yeah,
But yeah,
whatever.
cool. So yeah, next week, our episodes usually come out on Thursdays. Our next episode is going to be a half episode, which we cover whatever we want. We do all sorts of different things. And we're going to be doing Project Hail Mary. I'm seeing the movie like right when it comes out. I don't know if you have tickets, like we'll talk about it. But I think we're going to try to record that and get it out a little bit in advance. So next
Mhm.
week's episode, so make sure you subscribe on YouTube or the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can see our thoughts on Project Hail Mary. We'll have a full episode about it. We're both super excited for it. It looks great. Ryan Gosling season is he's back. Uh, Maybe the only man almost as charming as Marcel the Shell. Um, but yeah, so that'll be next week's episode. And then after that, we will be doing a category, which I'm currently picking from the category cup. If I'm on YouTube, you can see taking something. I have, oh boy,
Uh-oh.
John Waters.
Oh, cool.
We'll be
Oh,
doing movies directed by John Waters.
that's
I feel
cool.
like I have a favorite that, well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it. Do you
Yeah.
want to announce it at the end of our Project Hail Mary episode? That way we have a little bit of time to think.
Yeah, that's what we've been
Yeah.
doing for a little while now. I have some ideas like right off the bat, but
Yeah.
yeah, makes sense to think about it for a week or so and come back together then. So,
Cool. All right, well, stick around. We got Project Hail Mary next week, and then the week after we'll be talking about the King of Trash. That's his name, right? It's his nickname.
yeah, I think
King of
so.
Trash or Pope of Trash or something like that. Whatever.
Sound like that.
He's whatever. Some trashy guy named John Waters. Talk to you later. Don't forget to buy your movies.